it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about the Steam Deck. I hope you are having a great week playing a ton of video games. I have the extraction shooter bug fully taking hold of me. I've been playing Escape from Duck-Off, I've been playing Arc Raiders, I've been playing Zero Sievert. So yeah, all those games work well on the Steam Deck. Let me know what you're playing down in the comments below. In today's video, we have a single topic to cover because Valve just released a new update for the Steam Deck that brought along with it a surprise feature. This one hasn't showed up in any betas, and it's one that's been requested by me and everyone else who has a Steam Deck for over 3 years at this point. Someone tried to check me and say that the Steam Deck's 4 years old, but it was announced around this time. It came out much later than it was supposed to. So I think it's just a little bit over 3 years old. Anyway, before we jump into it, it would really help me out if you subscribe and set your notifications to all, but let's get into this because I am so excited. So I was editing some shorts and I checked Twitter, and there's a new tweet from Valve letting us know that a surprise feature just came to the Steam Deck, and what it is the ability to download games with the screen off. So this has been something that people have been requesting since the Steam Deck came out because it's kind of like the last little feature to really bridge the gap between PC and console. Apparently it was extremely difficult to get up and running, and that's what everyone who used Linux more than I did at the time told me, because apparently Linux doesn't really have support for keeping the Wi-Fi active, or at least parts of your computer active, while it's in sleep mode. So like if it's in sleep mode, it's in sleep mode. It can't connect to the internet and check for updates or anything, and that was causing a problem if you wanted to download games overnight. Initially, it wasn't that big of a deal, but over time, bigger games that get updates all the time, like Dying Light 2, for example, or Diablo 4, those games, whether you have them installed to your SD card or your SSD, they take forever to patch. So like if a 3 or 4 gigabyte update drops randomly in the middle of the night and you don't download it, you could get into this situation where, you know, you go to play a video game on your Steam Deck and it's one of those specific games, and then suddenly you have to patch it. The patch downloads in like 5 or 10 minutes because it's not even that big of a patch, and then you just have to leave your Steam Deck screen on for over an hour or more while it patches the game. I do not understand why that happens with certain games. Like with Diablo 4, people said I was gaslighting them and that all I had to do was disable the HD texture pack and that would fix it. Yeah, it reduced the amount of time it took to patch Diablo 4 from about 2 to 3 hours all the way down to like 2 hours. So I don't really understand why that was an issue, but once the Steam Deck OLED came out, it kind of became an even worse issue because everyone's scared of burn-in with OLEDs. I have 2 OLED TVs. I don't have any burn-in yet, thank Christ, but like on the Steam Deck with the screen, you don't want to leave it on overnight while you patch a game and have it take all night, because it can take all night with some of these games, and then have that one static screen right there on your Steam Deck OLED overnight. That would be terrible, because even though it takes a really long time to actually get an image burned into a screen, you don't want to help it along by doing something as simple as patching a game. Like you could do it by playing a game for infinite hours, like if you only played one game that had the HUD in one spot forever on your Steam Deck, but the only thing that could really push it along as far as I'm talking about would be leaving the screen on overnight while it's patching. And it ended up being something that seems like it was pretty tricky to solve because the way they ended up implementing this was pretty interesting. So it's not necessarily the same, at least from how I'm reading into it, as something like the Nintendo Switch 2, your Xbox Series X, or your PlayStation 5, where they can enter a rest mode, where the screen and the console are basically completely off, but they activate the core features that are needed to connect to the internet and download games and patches. And the PS5 and Xbox will periodically check for new updates so that when you turn it on, you know, all the updates are downloaded and you're ready to game. What this is doing is basically dimming your screen to 0 and leaving the Steam Deck on, but it says it's entering an extremely low power mode that allows it to download games at a relatively fast speed, or updates of course. But when the update finishes, the Steam Deck will know, and then the screen will turn off completely and it will go into sleep mode. So the screen will be off while games are downloaded. Once they finish, the thing will go into sleep mode.